In the frozen wilderness of Yakutia, Siberia, where temperatures drop to a terrifying -71 degrees Celsius, an 80-year-old woman lives alone in a fragile wooden cabin, surrounded by endless snow and silence. No neighbors, no roads, just wind and survival. Every morning, she wakes before sunrise, lights her small iron stove, and whispers a quiet prayer to survive another day in the coldest inhabited place on earth. But one morning, something changes. Through the raging snowstorm, she sees a shadow moving in the white distance. Slow, heavy, powerful, a massive brown bear. In Yakutia, a bear at your door doesn't mean curiosity, it means danger. Her heart pounds, the wind howls, the cabin trembles. But as the bear steps closer, she notices something unexpected. The bear isn't growling. She isn't hunting. She's carrying something gently in her mouth. A tiny cub, weak, barely moving. The mother bear walks up to the old wooden doorstep and carefully places her baby down. Then she looks directly into the old woman's eyes. Not with anger, not with fear, but with recognition. And in that frozen moment, memories rush back. Years ago, during another brutal winter, the old woman found a starving bear cub trapped near her cabin. Against all odds, she fed it scraps, kept it warm near her stove, and released it back into the wild when spring finally came. She never expected to see it again. Until now. The old woman slowly kneels, whispers something only the bear can hear, and reaches for the helpless cub. Because sometimes in the coldest places on earth, nature remembers kindness. And kindness always finds its way home. In the farthest corner of Siberia, where the earth disappears beneath endless white, where the wind does not blow, it screams, there stands a small wooden cabin in the frozen wilderness of Yakutia. Here winter is not a season. It is a test of survival. Temperatures fall to -71 degrees Celsius. Metal freezes. Breath turns to ice. And silence becomes your only companion. Inside the cabin lives an 80-year-old woman named Anya. She has lived here for over 50 years. Alone. No electricity. No neighbors for miles. No road connecting her to the outside world during winter. Every morning before sunrise, Anya wakes up to the sound of cracking wood in the freezing walls. She slowly rises from her narrow bed, wraps herself in heavy wool, and lights the small iron stove that keeps her alive. The fire is her heartbeat. Without it, she would not survive the night. She boils water, makes weak tea, and sits quietly by the window watching the snow move like a living thing. Most people would call this loneliness, but to Anya, this is home. Years ago she had a family, a husband who hunted, a son who laughed loudly. But the cold took them both, not in one night, not in one storm, but slowly over time. Since then it has just been her, and the wilderness. And the wilderness remembers everything. One winter morning, a storm unlike any other arrives. The sky darkens before noon. The wind slams against the cabin like an angry spirit. Snow covers the doorway within minutes. Anya secures the shutters and adds more wood to the fire. But something feels different. The wind carries a sound. Not the howl of air. Not cracking ice. Something heavier. Something alive. She walks slowly to the frost-covered window and wipes away the ice with her sleeve. At first, she sees nothing but white chaos. Then, a shadow. Large. Moving steadily through the storm. Her heart stops. A brown bear. Massive. Powerful. Walking directly toward her cabin. In Yakutia, a bear approaching your home in winter is not normal. It means desperation. Or hunger. Anya grips the edge of the window frame. At her age, she cannot run. She cannot fight. If the bear wants to break the door, it will. The animal moves closer. Closer. Until it stands only a few steps from her wooden porch. And then Anya sees something that makes her breath tremble. The bear is not growling. Not aggressive. In her mouth, she carries something gently. A tiny bear cub. Small. Weak. Barely moving. The mother bear climbs onto the porch. Each step creaks under her weight. Anya steps back from the door, her heart pounding in her ears. The bear lowers her head and carefully places the cub on the wooden doorstep. Then she does something no one would believe. She looks up, straight into Anya's eyes. Not with anger, not with threat, but with something else. Recognition. And suddenly, memory returns. Years ago, maybe 15 winters back, Anya had heard crying outside her cabin. A small, broken sound. She had opened the door and found a starving bear cub, trapped in deep snow near her woodpile. The cub's mother was nowhere to be seen. Perhaps taken by hunters. perhaps lost to the cold. Against all logic, against all fear, Anya had carried that cub inside. For weeks, she fed it scraps of dried fish and warm milk. She let it sleep beside the stove. She spoke to it as if it were her own child. And when spring came, she walked deep into the forest and released it. She never expected to see it again. Until now. The storm rages louder. The cub on her doorstep barely moves. The mother bear does not leave. She simply waits. Anya understands. This is not an attack. This is trust. Slowly, carefully, she unlocks the door. The wind explodes inside the cabin. The mother bear does not move. Anya kneels slowly despite the pain in her knees. She looks at the cub. It is freezing. Its tiny body shivers violently. Without hesitation, she lifts the cub into her arms. The mother bear watches every movement. But she does not growl. She does not step forward. She knows. Anya carries the cub inside and wraps it in thick wool blankets. She places it beside the stove. The little body begins to warm. Minutes feel like hours. The mother bear remains outside the open door, snow collecting on her thick fur. Anya whispers softly, "I remember you." The bear's eyes soften. Not like an animal, but like something that understands. For 3 days the storm does not stop. And for 3 days the mother bear remains near the cabin. Anya feeds the cub small drops of warm milk. She rubs its tiny paws. She sings old lullabies she once sang to her son. And slowly, the cub grows stronger. By the 4th morning the sky clears. Sunlight touches the endless snow like gold. The cub stands, wobbly, but alive. Anya carries it to the doorway. The mother bear rises immediately. Anya kneels one last time. She strokes the cub gently and whispers, "Go back to where you belong." The cub waddles toward its mother. The mother bear nudges it softly. Then she turns her massive head toward Anya. They hold each other's gaze. No fear. No distance. Just memory. Then without a sound, the bear and her cub disappear into the white wilderness. The wind becomes gentle again. The cabin is quiet. Anya closes the door slowly. She returns to her chair by the stove. And for the first time in many years, she does not feel alone. Because in the coldest place on earth, kindness does not freeze. It survives. It waits. And sometimes, it comes back to your doorstep. In the frozen heart of Yakutia, Siberia, where winter does not visit, it rules, there stands a small wooden cabin buried beneath snow. The world here is not white. It is endless. Endless silence. Endless cold. Endless survival. The temperature drops to -71 degrees Celsius. Cold so sharp it feels like glass cutting through your lungs. Cold that freezes tears before they fall. And in this wilderness, lives an 80-year-old woman named Anya Petrovna. No electricity. No phone. No nearby village during winter months. Just a fragile wooden cabin, a wood stove, and memories that refuse to fade. Anya has lived here for most of her life. When she was young, this cabin was filled with warmth. Her husband, Mikhail, was a hunter, strong and patient like the forest itself. Her son, Pavel, ran through the snow laughing, fearless of the cold. But Yakutia does not spare anyone. A hunting accident took Mikhail during a storm. Years later, illness took her son before he could become a man. And so the cabin grew quieter. But Anya never left. Because leaving would mean abandoning the only place that still held their voices. Every morning, before the sky even thinks of light, Anya wakes up. Her joints ache from the cold. Her breath rises like smoke in the air. She lights the iron stove, her lifeline. The crackle of fire is the only sound that reminds her she is still alive. She boils snow for water. Feeds the small birds that dare to survive outside her window. And sometimes, she speaks out loud. Not because anyone is there, but because silence can be heavier than grief. On this particular morning, the storm begins before sunrise. The wind howls like wolves in the dark. Snow slams against the cabin walls. Anya has seen storms before, but this one feels different, stronger, angrier. The cabin trembles slightly. She adds more wood to the fire and wraps herself in her late husband's old fur coat. Suddenly, a sound, not wind, not wood cracking, something heavier, a deep thud outside. Anya freezes. Her heart begins to beat louder than the storm. Slowly, she walks toward the frost-covered window. She wipes away a circle of ice with trembling fingers. At first she sees nothing. Then, a shadow moving through the white chaos. Large, massive. Her breath catches in her throat. A brown bear. Not just any bear. A fully grown female, powerful enough to tear the cabin door apart. And she is walking directly toward Anya's home. In winter, bears should be hibernating. If one is awake, it means desperation, hunger, or worse. Anya steps back from the window. She is 80 years old. She cannot run into the forest. She cannot defend herself. If the bear wants to enter, there will be nothing she can do. The animal climbs the small wooden steps of the porch. Each step creaks loudly. Anya hears her own heartbeat in her ears. The shadow stops at the door. And then, silence. The storm continues screaming, but near the door, there is stillness. Anya forces herself to look again, and what she sees makes her gasp. The bear is holding something in her mouth. Not prey, not meat. Something small, fragile. A cup, tiny, barely moving, covered in frost. The mother bear lowers her head and gently places the cub on Anya's doorstep. Then she does something impossible. She sits and waits. Her eyes lift slowly, meeting Anya's gaze through the glass. There is no aggression there, no growl, only something ancient, something familiar. And suddenly, memory floods back like a forgotten dream. 15 winters ago, Anya had heard crying outside her cabin. A thin, desperate sound carried by the wind. She had opened her door and found a bear cub tangled in frozen branches near her woodpile. Its mother had been shot by illegal hunters days earlier. The cub was starving, shaking, alone. Anyone else would have left it. Helping a wild animal could mean death. But Anya saw something else. She saw her son, small, helpless. She carried the cub inside, fed it scraps of dried fish, warmed it near the stove. For weeks she cared for it in secret. She spoke to it softly. "Little one," she would whisper, "the forest will take you back." When spring finally came, she walked miles into the forest and released it. The cub had looked back once before disappearing into the trees. She never expected to see it again. Until now. Back in the present, the storm rages harder. The cub on her doorstep whimpers weakly. The mother bear remains still, trusting. Anya understands. This is not coincidence. This is memory. Slowly, carefully, she unlocks the door. The wind bursts inside like a living thing. Snow flies across the floor. The mother bear does not move. Anya kneels painfully, her old bones protesting. She lifts the cub gently. His body is ice cold. She holds it close under her coat. The mother bear watches. No growl. No threat. Only faith. Anya steps back inside and closes the door halfway. The bear remains on the porch, waiting. For 3 days the storm traps them together. Anya feeds the cub drops of warm milk using a cloth. She rubs its paws. She sings lullabies she once sang to Pavel. Outside, the mother bear never leaves the area. Snow collects on her fur. But she stays. On the second night, Anya opens the door slightly. The bear steps closer. Not inside. Just close enough. Anya whispers softly. "You remember me, don't you?" The bear blinks slowly. And in that frozen moment, something passes between them. Not words. Not language. But recognition. By the fourth morning, the storm ends. The sky clears. Sunlight touches the snow like gold. The cub opens its eyes fully. Stronger now. Standing on shaky legs. Anya smiles through tears. She wraps the cub in a blanket one last time and opens the door. The mother bear rises immediately. Anya kneels and places the cub gently on the porch. The little one waddles toward its mother. The mother nudges it softly, checking its strength. Then she lifts her massive head. Her eyes meet Anya's. Long, silent, full of something deeper than gratitude. Anya whispers, "Go home." The bear turns. Slowly, powerfully, she walks back into the endless forest. The cub follows close behind. And just before disappearing into the white horizon, the bear looks back one last time. Then they are gone. The wind softens. The world becomes quiet again. Anya closes the door gently. She returns to her chair by the stove. But something has changed. The cabin no longer feels empty. Because in the coldest place on earth, kindness does not freeze. It waits. And when the time comes, it finds its way back. Even through a storm. Even through -71 degrees. And in the endless wilderness of Yakutia, an old woman smiles softly, knowing she was never truly alone.